you for agreeing to come in for two reasons. One is because, in part, it sounds like you're having a very hard time.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
I mean, so when one has a hard time, my experience is it's really tough to want to keep at it when things are hard. I mean, that can be a difficult thing. Well, and secondly, we have all these cameras and people, and it's a very odd place to come, and so this is probably not an easy thing. But I can tell you that the other part of this, it's not very easy for me, because I'm from America, I'm from Indiana, that's not Amsterdam, and so it's very different, and it's actually only 9 o'clock in the morning there, so I'm actually not all the way awake yet either. So it'll be hard for both of us then.
Okay, we try.
And my Dutch is very bad, as I told you down in the waiting room. In fact, my Dutch is so bad it's non-existent. There is no Dutch for me. So I'll try to, if we could work together, maybe you could help me when I say things that don't make sense. And I apologize for that from the beginning, just because I'll do my best. I'm trying to learn. It's very hard for me, and so I'm trying to get out of it. Can you help me, because I also know that what our job here is to figure out how we can make it until the day treatment begins.
Yes.
Because day treatment, it sounds to me, will provide a wonderful opportunity for you to get some school,
Yes.
which is good, and it'll provide an opportunity to get some structure, which sounds like it would be good. And the challenge is figuring out how we can make it, how you can make it to when day treatment begins.
Yes.
Is that? So, tell me what goes on, because it sounds like to me that you're all kind of in agreement about what you're trying to do here. That you're all trying to get to this day treatment thing so that it can help. Sounds like everybody's kind of I mean, in one sense it sounds like you fight, but in another sense it sounds like you're all trying to do the same thing. So, I don't understand that. Can you help me understand what goes on between the three of you that's getting in the way of getting to this day treatment help?
No. The biggest problem is discipline. It's just following simple rules, domestic rules.
And the other one is he doesn't take his medicine. That gets him very violent now and then.
I heard a little bit about the medicine. It sounds to me like there's some work to be done on the medicine, but the medicine's an important thing. This may be the wrong one, but it's an important thing too.
Yeah.
Could you help me with your name again?
Walter.
Walter. Walter, rules. The rules are a struggle for you because?
They're not a struggle for me. It's just keeping news and doing things I want him to do. That's the problem. Just discipline. Time of coming home, telling where he is. Simple, just small things.
Is that the hard part, because they're simple? I mean, is it,
Yes,
what I mean by hard is it, I mean, they're simple enough, he's a smart boy, obviously, and so it's not hard to understand them, but is that the struggle for you, is that, why would he not do simple things?
Yeah, I don't know why. Yeah, that's the problem.
And so that's hard for you?
Yeah,
Trying to understand when they're so simple, why?
why not?
Why not? So, now you're adopted, right? And you've been together, the three of you, for
15 years.
so quite a long time.
Yes.
Right, a long time. So you all have overcome many things. Right? Being adopted and having an adopted child is a hard thing, and you've had to, it sounds like, do a lot of things. And now, as a dad, he can't seem to accomplish the small rules.
Yes.
Tough, is it?
He has always difficulties with that.
Yeah.
His whole life.
So now, as he's older, that's hard as a dad? Is it hard as a dad? When your job is rules?
Not as a dad, it's hard for the whole family.
It's hard for the whole thing.
Yeah. Not knowing where he is, not knowing when he's coming home, if he's coming home on that night at all.
Could I ask a question about that?
Yes.
Sounds like you haven't given up on it.
I didn't give him.
Because if you'd given up on him when he was out at night, you wouldn't care, would you?
Yes, that's right.
So, even with all the trouble then, that you've had, it sounds like for a very long time, no giving up?
No. I still believe he's coming around.
There's more than just coming around, isn't it?
Mm.
I mean, there sounds like there's something from your heart there
Yes.
with him as well.
Mm.
Well, I mean, I don't want to push you and ask about things that are not my business, but I appreciate it because it's a different story for me if some of what goes on with the rules
Yes.
is because you care a lot and because you haven't given up.
That's right.
Other times parents do rules because they have given up
Mm.
and they do it for different reasons. But it sounds to me like it's for you. It's a heart thing.
It's awesome. Listen. Mm.
So for you, it's rules, and it's simple things. And it sounds a bit confusing that there are simple rules, and everybody knows that if you would do them, that things would feel better.
Yeah.
But you can't give up
Mm.
because you care.
That's
So
right.
you're in a very hard place.
That's for all of us.
For all of you, yeah, and I understand. But, I mean, just as a dad, it's a hard
Yes,
place,
it
right?
is.
What do the rest of you think about what's going on? Medication? Rules?
And I have a lot of fights with him.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
So, many of the fights are
Between us two.
here or here?
Yeah.
Okay. What do you think about that? How come?
I don't know. He explodes and then I explode.
Okay. So both of you...
It's like we are volcanoes,
Oh, yeah,
like that.
yeah. So there's pressure. If it's a volcano,
Yeah.
there's pressure that builds, and it builds and it builds over time
Yes. And
until
then I
it
explode.
pops out.
Yes.
And you explode or you explode?
We both do.
You both do. Now, do you explode at the same time?
Mm,
Different times?
yeah.
Different times?
Different times.
Yeah. So sometimes it will be the pressure builds more than you, and other times the pressure builds more than you?
Yeah.
Okay. But not here.
Oftentimes.
Oftentimes.
Yeah.
Do you manage the pressure a little different?
But he understands me more, you know.
Maybe I'm a little more patient, yeah. I don't know if you understand you very well, but I try to.
So the difference with you and your mom is there a sense, you have this idea that she doesn't understand quite as much? Is that what's...
Yeah.
But when your dad's hard on you,
But
it still feels like there's something different. It's curious to me.
when I have a fight with him, he's first thinking about it, and he don't scream, you know. He's just chill and he talks with me. He's first gotta think about it, you know, and then sometimes he understands me and sometimes he don't, you know. But he's not screaming and stuff, and I don't like when people scream at me, you know. Just make me angry.
But you scream back.
Yeah.
So your mom and dad have very different ways of caring about you and not giving up on you. Because, could I ask you something? If I
Yes.
could? When you scream, and I don't know you, so I'm going to ask this, and you could tell me if I'm wrong. When you scream, you're not pushing them away and throwing them out, are you?
No.
You're hurt and scared for them?
Yes, of course. Yeah.
The same as you, but you both do that very differently.
Yes.
So when you hurt like that and get afraid, you're quick to come to
Yes.
kind of saying it. So does that make sense? I mean, my English...
Yes, it does
Okay.
make sense.
Okay, okay. But at the moment, you don't feel afraid, do you? You feel just very angry.
Yeah, I'm very angry now. Then I really explode.
Yeah. But am I right? Does she?
It's right,
Yeah. Is she right?
Yeah.
No, help me with it, because my disadvantage here is not knowing the language. You all get to do things that I don't understand. So So you have to help me.
No, I just left because you said to her you explode, and then she said yes, and then
Oh,
I
okay.
left about it.
Yeah, because she does explode.
Yes.
Like, is the explosion this big or this big?
This big.
Okay. There's a really important thing I have to ask, and I need to understand this if it's okay. Your explosions sound to me like a mother that's afraid when she sees her son not changing, not a mean woman who can't control her temper.
No, no,
It's an afraid mother.
yes,
You've put too much into him to see this not work.
yes, of course, you're right.
And you've invested a great
Yes,
deal.
a lot.
A lot. And when he continues to misbehave, does it really tear at you?
It hurts.
It hurts a lot.
Yeah,
I mean, I can even see as you talk about it.
Yeah.
And after that's happened many times, you don't feel the hurt anymore immediately, you just feel the anger at it first?
yes,
So it's like, it used to be that it would be hurt, and a little anger. Now it's a little hurt and a lot of
a
anger.
lot of anger,
But the hurt part's still there.
yes.
That must be very hard.
It is,
Must be very hard.
yes.
News. When she's angry, do you know that what she's doing is that she's afraid? Or when she gets angry, are you so quick to come to anger that you miss the fact that she's afraid? She could probably be afraid differently, but she's very afraid.
Yeah, but sometimes, when she's screaming, she's not always screaming with love in it. It's always, I see it as hate, Go out of the house, go in your room, just go away. It's coming,
Yeah.
When she's saying that, go away, it's,
That hurts as well.
yeah.
Yeah, so that's interesting, isn't it? Is that there has been so much, it sounds like, that's happened, that you don't hear the love part of it and the afraid part. What you hear
It's anger.
is anger, and you fear it pushing you away?
Yeah.
Does it feel like it's, when it's really funny, because it sounds like what she's trying to do is keep you, but it feels like it's being pushed
Right.
away?
She should maybe saying that with love, but she's not acting like that,
Yeah, no, that's, I understand. So then what you
So,
respond?
When she say that to me, it's always making me mad inside, and then I'm gonna do crazy stuff, I thinking by myself, my parents don't love me anymore, fuck it,
Yeah. You don't want him to leave you, do you? Can I ask a question? Because I want to tell you that.
I don't have time.
News. I want to tell you that it's good for me to see that you haven't lost something with them that's very important in making this work. You may say fuck it sometimes, but that's not how you feel. Is it? How you feel is that you don't know losing.
I already have lost one mother. But it's not gonna happen a second time.
So you're not gonna give up on them, right? You're not gonna let this happen for you.
Maybe when they didn't adopt me, I will be dead by now.
They did it.
Maybe I don't say that I love them, because they always are mad at me, and I don't have the time to tell them that I love them, but I still do.
I can see that. I mean, it's how I understand your tears is I understand it, and help me if I'm not accurate about this. I understand it as how desperate you are to hold on. And how, I mean, you're a tough guy, you're a street guy, but you don't want to lose him.
Some street guys, they always talking about them up there, you know, they ain't them much, but I don't.
And that's the difference, isn't it? And see,
Maybe the outside is rough, you know, but I still have a heart. For instance, I'm a small guy, you know.
and that's a hard thing, isn't it? On the outside, you're a tough guy, and on the inside,
On the street, I'm the man, you know, chilling with my homies, you know, every time, chilling people, you know. When I'm on the street, I'm a big guy, but, you know, I still have a heart.
And so when it comes to this business between the three of you, this big, tough street guy is a little guy that has a lot of heart.
They only see me as a rough guy, you know. Neighbors that tell that I'm making too much noise, says I've been in jail, you know.
So,
It's hard for me to tell them now that I'm still a good guy.
and that's the thing that sounds to me like it's been lost between you. What gets lost on a daily basis, meaning an everyday, if we sit and talk like this, it sounds to me like the first thing that you all feel is this connection to each other.
Yes.
That's right.
But it sounds like when you were to be to go home or on an everyday thing, that somehow this feeling of connection's lost, and it gets lost in little things like rules and little things like fights that then begin to feel like very big things. And this feeling, you know, the hurt, the fear you have about losing it, you know, the hurt and fear you have about him losing him,
Yes.
the confusion and struggle and the hurt about him not, I mean, that sounds to me like that gets lost every day. And
Yes.
instead, it's the anger that comes quickly,
That's right.
and this is the part that gets forgotten.
Yes.
Does that make, do you think that's a bit of what happens? Help me understand something, because I'm trying to figure this out. And just, I want to tell you, I appreciate you talking to a brand new person that you don't know, who talks funny, who acts weird, in a room with a lot of lights, and being so honest, and doing the kind of thing you wouldn't on the street. I appreciate that, and the same. But what my curiosity is how three people that care so much, and it's so obvious, how do you lose it, that feeling every day?
I do.
We don't
Where
talk
does it go? Like, I mean, do you ever wonder about that, like where it goes?
too much.
No.
Okay.
I'm always on the street. When
He's not, yeah, he's not at home a lot.
when I was at high school, at the first class, you know, I started to meet people, you know, old guys. All the guys, you know, I saw them smoke weed and stuff, cigarettes, so I began starting smoking and shit. Weed, I go every day to the city to buy weed, you know, and still now I'm doing that, you know. I don't like it as sitting at home watching TV, it's not me. When I'm waking up, I'm calling Bob, where are you, what are you doing? Okay, I'm coming.
He's not a baby anymore.
No, I know.
And it's hard, isn't it? Wouldn't it be nice if he was?
Yeah.
I have a 10-year-old son, and you're how old, 15, 16?
50.
50. I have a 17-year-old son and a 10-year-old son. And what I miss about both of them is that they're not babies and I don't get to hold them. And I don't get to know everything, and it's really hard. And you have a life. And it sounds like your life, you make some choices that make your life hard. You know, it sounds like you fit in some places that give you an image of being a very tough guy.
Yeah.
But at home, it sounds like some of what your struggle is when you walk back at home, not leaving the tough guy outside. Sounds like you bring tough guy home with you.
Yeah, he does.
And you forget to bring Noose home, but instead you bring tough guy.
It's not that I'm bringing tough guy home, it's I'm tough guy outside. And sometimes when, you know, I know that I have to be at home at 9:30, what you say?
9:30.
Yeah. But, you know, when I'm outside, I think, fuck it, you know. But when I'm coming home, I'm thinking about myself, shit, you know, I'm now busted, I'm getting, you know. It's not that I'm bringing tough guy. I know that I get a fight with her, you know. It's because I don't come, you know, on time.
What I meant is something a little different about bring tough guy home. Because what I meant is that one way, when you make a mistake and stay out too late, is to come home and to come in and say. Another way to do is to come in and say, you were late, and then say, well, fuck you. And one is a tough guy way, and another is another. So what I was more meaning is it sometimes hard outside the house to inside the house? You know, take tough guy when you leave and let him go when you come home and be this more Noose?
Not always.
Not always. Sometimes, but not always.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sometimes.
Do you know what I mean about the
when
two different guys?
When I'm having a good day, you know, I just thinking about myself. Oh, I go to my house. I go something to eat and shit. You know, not thinking about a fight or something. But sometimes when I know that I'm late or something, you know, then I know that I get a fight, and then bad boys coming also with me, you know.
Right. So that's the tough guy coming home then, isn't it? The tough guy coming home where he says, I know when I go in I'm going to fight. And fuck you, I'm not going to fight. Don't give me a hard time. You know, I'm not going to take that. That's what I mean about being a tough guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you sort of then go home with the attitude, the same one you have on the street, which is don't mess with me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you get afraid.
Yes.
Right, and you say, where are you? I'm afraid and I'm sick and tired of you.
Yes.
And then you go, well, don't do that to me.
That's what
And now we have
happens.
tough guy, and then we have. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Je kan het wel goed volgen.
Yeah.
Pardon?
Just translate it if it's the understanding and the
Oh, okay.
lesson.
Good, good. Are we doing okay?
Yeah.
I'm still curious. 3 people that care so much,
Strange.
and you come home, and here are 3 people that have worked so hard to make a home and to stay together, and somehow,
It doesn't work.
well, somehow there's some things are backwards, aren't they?
Yeah.
It's like the most important thing gets set in the shelf behind. And tough guy and hurt and sick of it, they end up being what happens. It's an interesting thing. I don't know that I understand how that is. It's like you just get drawn into things, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
You know, do you ever get curious about this?
Yes.
Wonder how it's come to this?
It's also because when I was at high school, I was, you know, kicked off of school. And then 3 years without a school, you know, 2 years living on the street. I've become a naughty boy, you know, in the street. Two things, you know, when I was 30, I was weird on a, you know, scooter. I'm now chilling with, you know, guys that are 20, 19, you know, I don't chill with guys from my own age. From little, you know, always with big guys.
So, you all want to help with that. What would you want to be saying? You would want to be saying to him, this worries you, and you want him to do by small rules
Yes.
so that it protects him, and you would want to have him come home so it protects him, and you know this. I mean, it probably doesn't, I know what you said earlier, which was important, was it doesn't feel like from your mom it's coming from love. It feels like it's coming from anger. I see something different. I see it coming from love, but she's forgotten it. But it's there, a bit like you, you know, we're the tough guy, and you just say, fuck it. But here you can feel it.
Mm-hmm.
So, the simple things then don't get done. Why do you think that is?
I don't know. I think I lost it somewhere.
What do you think you
And
lost?
my problem is when he's coming home
Yeah.
and he opens the door, I think, oh help, Niels is at home. Because then the problems start.
And
And that's a feeling that's not good.
so, can I help me understand what you just said? You said he comes in the door, and you said, "Oh my gosh, who's not here?"
He
Oh,
is
this-
here.
He is. Oh, he is here.
Yeah.
Now the problems will start.
Yes,
And then it feels as if, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do.
yes,
And you kind of think it's going to go very badly. I don't want it to go badly.
no,
And then you open your mouth and it starts badly. And you feel,
anger,
but you know it's not going well.
yeah,
But it's so much anger, it's hard to stop.
yes. I think over the years it builds up.
Yeah.
That's my feeling.
Yeah, it builds up to the point where you don't feel that kind of afraid part.
Yeah.
So you don't say, oh my gosh, where have you been? I'm scared to death. And instead you say, I'm sick and tired of you not being home.
Yes.
Years before you would have said the afraid part. Now you say the more angry part.
Yeah.
I think you have a very good idea of it. The problem is that the anger is very strong for you, isn't it?
It is.
And he sounds to me like somehow he feels like you've lost it too. Feels like you've lost you don't feel the hurt part anymore.
Yeah.
And you already know that, though, don't you? See, because he also knows that he's lost your son part, and he's more the tough guy sometimes.
Yeah.
I think he knows that. It gets so bad, you don't think you can go on another day? Is that what's happened yesterday?
Nearly.
Nearly, yeah.
Slept the night over and start thinking it over again. And come to the conclusion, not at a point to give it up. Just have one more chance.
Is it really possible to give up for you?
No.
I mean, you could send him away, but in your heart, do
Sometimes.
you ever give up?
Yeah.
No.
It's more like it would feel good to not have to fight today.
Yes, that's the problem.
But then if you sent him away tonight, it would be,
I wouldn't sleep.
that's what I mean.
Yeah.
You wouldn't sleep for a different reason.
Yeah.
I mean, if he was out and at home and angry, you wouldn't sleep because you were angry. But if you sent him away, you wouldn't sleep because you missed him.
Yes.
So both of you are in a very tough spot, aren't you? You don't know what to do. You feel as if you can't go through the anger again. But you all three sound like you're alike, which is you're not going to give up and you're not going to let him give up.
That's right.
Could I say an odd thing? If I haven't already said a lot of odd and different things. When you fight with your mom, is some of that part of not being willing to let her go? What I mean by that is when she comes at you with great anger, is some of your fighting back kind of a message that says you're not going to get rid of me. I'm not going to let go of you. You know, can I use an idea? An idea to try to say what I'm trying to say? Have you ever had something on you and you try to get it off and you do this? And you kind of keep doing this to try to get it off?
Yeah.
Do you ever feel like you're holding on so that she can't push you away?
I always feel that they try to hold on, you know.
That they both try to
They
hold on?
tell me that they want me out of the house, but I know that they don't want it. I just said it to, you know, warning, you know.
To scare you off.
Some days, News, on some days, do you forget that and feel as if they just, I mean, do you just say, fuck it? If they don't want me?
Yeah, sometimes.
Sometimes. So even though you and your mom fight, and you feel like it comes from anger, you know that she's not going to give up?
Just make me tired, you know.
Just makes you tired?
She always tell me, yeah, get out the house, but when it comes to it, I always stay at the house, you know.
So getting to day treatment is, I mean, I just find this to be a very difficult or an interesting thing is, it's everybody cares. In fact, it's almost like
Somewhere it goes all wrong.
somewhere it goes all wrong.
Yeah.
And I think it's because in three very different ways, we have three very hurt people because of all that's gone on. And that's hurt you as much. I mean, not that anyone's done anything to you, but more, so many things have happened.
Mm-hmm.
And for both of you as well. And somehow this losing the fact that you're not going to hold on, I mean, that you're not going to give up, you don't, that comes into question often now.
Yes, it does.
Yeah. When it didn't used to.
Yeah.
Now it comes into question. So I guess I want to go back and ask one more time. This is a weird thing to say, but I want to ask if I wonder if Noose isn't a bit trying to hold on to you in this weird way. I mean, it's an interesting way for you all to stay kind of working together. As if he's bad enough, in some ways you guys have to work very hard as his parents. I mean, it feels bad, but you have to be very involved with them. But do you understand what I'm trying to say?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
It's perfectly.
Yeah, it's a very weird way to hold on to you,
Hmm.
is to be very negative.
Yes.
But it sounds like it's come to that one way to hold on is at least, if you can't have anything else, at least you can fight a lot.
Yeah.
Because at least you have something. Whereas if he didn't fight with you, I wonder if he is in part concerned he might end up too far out on the street and never come back.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean by that?
Yes.
So it's kind of an interesting way for him to stay in the family. And I think he doesn't need to do it that way. I think there would be other ways to do it.
Yes.
But that's not what it feels like to you when he comes home late, does it?
No.
When he comes home late, it's just...
It's if violence is in my house
Is when he walks in?
when he walks in, yes.
So staying out late has come to feel to you like violence,
Yeah.
because it means these big fights. So, could I ask a different question that's kind of hard? Would the two of you know what to do anymore if you didn't fight? Would you have anything to say? Would the two of you have anything to say if you didn't fight? What would you say to one another if you didn't fight?
I like it when people, you know, not screaming at me. When you're not screaming at me, I'm chill, you know. You know, we can talk, you know.
Yeah.
That we say man to man, but when it's with my money, it's mother to son, you know. But chill, not screaming, yelling at me. I'm not a small guy anymore, you know. When I was little, you know, you could scream at me, but now I'm not saying that I'm a grown person or something, but
You are? But you're a grown person.
but I can, you know, I like to speak, chill down, you know, sit down with each other, not screaming. I don't like it. But when she's screaming, I'm screaming. It's making me, you know.
So you become a guy you don't want to be.
Yeah.
You become a screaming guy.
Yeah.
And you sound like you want to be a chilled guy.
When she's mad at me, she must come to me and say, "Hey Niels, I'm mad at you," you know. And hey Niels, I don't like that.
But it sounds like you end up being a kind of guy that you don't like to be. You become a screaming guy too,
Yeah.
which is not who you want to be. Okay, you've grown up on the street then, haven't you? Because my guess is you used to be a screaming guy on the street too.
Yeah.
And you used to be a violent guy on the street?
Yeah, but when the time in jail, you know, I've been sitting all day in my room, and I've been thinking, and I'm not violence anymore and stuff. You know, only thing I'm out smoking, and you know, that's something that I do now, but not violence, stealing or something. But when you're in jail, you know, then you feel how it is to be free, you know.
Right.
But when you're in jail, it's hard.
You learned an important lesson.
Yeah.
Good for you. Good for you. You know, you say you're not a little guy, and you say but you're not a grown person, but it sounds to me like you've learned many grown person lessons. The whole thing about losing freedom is something that usually takes a very mature adult to learn. So good for you. That's a tough lesson.
Yeah.
When I go home to my parents' house to see my parents, I'm 50 years old. I act like I'm 15. You know how when you're around your parents, you always are a child, even when you're an adult? So I get this picture of you out on the street. Here you're a guy that's learned a lot of important lessons. You have gone from being a punk, you know the word punk?
Yeah.
Punk kid that doesn't know better, to a smarter kid that knows better. But when you go home, you get pulled into being a child again.
Yeah.
And that must be difficult. Here you are, a chilled guy, and you end up like a screaming little
They
kid.
think that I'm a guy at 15, you know, but I've learned a lot from the old guys with you know, when I'm with them. They tell me, you know, grown person things. Because they are 20, you know, and I'm 15. But they tell me good things, you know. They tell me, don't steal anymore, it's not good. You fucked up your whole life when you're doing that. You know, it's better now how I live now than then.
So you have learned a lot.
Yeah.
Now,
But
when,
they still think, you know, that I'm a guy that steals and things, you know.
you know why? I can tell you why they think that stuff. Do you want to know why? Do you know why they still think? I believe that because of this fear thing I've been talking about. The lessons you're talking about right now that you've learned, those have happened inside you. All they see is your behavior. And what they see are things that scare them. And they don't see all the things that you've learned. Because in many ways you don't get a chance to show them. So they don't know the ways you've changed. Because when you go home and talk with your mom, it still isn't, it's not like you're 15, it sounds to me like you're 7 or 8 when you go home. You know, you revert back to a small child. Because kicking, screaming, fighting, yelling, that's little kid stuff, that's not older kid stuff. So it sounds like in some ways the same thing happens to you that happens to me, which is you go home and you become a little kid again.
Yeah.
And it probably, for a guy like you, it probably pisses you off, doesn't it? And you blame her for pulling you there.
Yeah.
Yeah. When it's you that goes there, right? That's just one of the things you haven't learned yet, is how to be the same street guy with your mom. I mean, the tough adult guy with your mom. Because that's a hard thing to learn. So maybe it isn't her. Maybe in part, what you haven't learned yet is how to make that shift and take the adult part that you've learned well and do it with her. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I only ask because it's not because I don't think you don't understand, it's a language thing. So I'm just checking on the language part. Because I think this is an important thing.
But sometimes when I tell her, you know, I'm a grown person, you know, don't scream. She's she's going and going and going.
Can I tell you why? And I'm gonna make a guess because I really don't know, but I have a guess because of all the families I've worked with. She still sees you like you're 6 or 7 too, and she doesn't know how to speak to an older guy. Because you're not 15. You're older than 15. You know that. You've learned many lessons. You're 15 going on what? 25? Something like that. You know? I don't know that she knows how to speak with you.
That's it.
Sort of like I don't know that you know how to speak with her. It's almost like the two of you are caught in a mom and a young son rather than a mom and an older son.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do you know it?
Yes, I know.
Okay. Is that what it feels like?
I
a little
understand.
bit?
Yeah, so that's what it feels.
Yeah, it feels as if he's little.
Yeah.
And you're trying to do, but then you think he's big, but.
Yeah, I'm trying to keep him under my thumb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then he knows that. You feel like she's trying to keep you under a
But I
thumb.
don't like it when she's, you know, when she's screaming to me like
Yeah.
that. And you know, I'm not a little child. You know.
But do you see
But
what
she
I'm,
don't know.
but she sees you as.
Yeah.
She doesn't see you as a child. I think she feels the mother thing that mothers feel about their kids and dads feel about their kids. Like you're, you know. And when I was talking about the being afraid before, that's what I was sort of meaning.
Mhm.
So the challenge for you too, and maybe you're the better judge of this, or maybe you can help me. Is this an accurate thing, which is it's almost like they haven't learned how to talk to each other? A mom with a grown-up kid and a grown-up kid who...
That's a new site. I think it has a lot to do with trusting each other.
Right.
Without that, the fight is starting easier,
Right.
earlier.
And there have been a lot of reasons not to trust, right?
Hmm.
So a minute ago, he was talking about lessons he's learned. These are not things that you see yet, are they?
No.
You don't see them. So he feels as if he's learned, but you all don't see it.
I think you're right.
And so you feel as if he's still way down here,
Yes.
and you're worried about him being in jail again, and you're worried about losing him.
Yes.
And for you, you know you've learned lessons, and it pisses you off that they don't know that, and they treat you like a kid. Here's my question. You're a very smart guy. You're a very smart guy. Why not show them what you've learned? I mean, I don't, it's a serious question. I don't know the answer. They don't know what you've learned.
But how?
Well, I don't know. I don't know you well enough to say how. So what would an adult do with his parents when they got so scared for him that they screamed at him like a child? What would an adult do? What would a chilled guy do? He'd feel like saying, fuck you, leave me alone. But what the lesson you told me you've learned is you've learned to take that feeling and to do something else instead. Right? On the street you've learned that. Right?
Maybe just doing things right.
Well, yeah. I mean, ultimately, that's going to be the good thing, right? To come home on time and something. But my guess is you're not going to come home on time every night. I'm sorry to say. You probably should. It would probably be smart, but don't give me that. You're not coming home on time. Okay? Right? Am I wrong?
Yeah, but
You should. It would make life easier.
With the time, 9:30, you know, the older guys that you're at all the 5, you know, 5,
Or go past 4.
yeah,
At night.
Oh, that's when you go, when you...
Yeah, the other guys, you know, and the weekend and stuff, and then just I say, hey guys, I gotta go home, man. You know,
What do they do?
Yeah,
I gotta go
just
home and do the
mad.
rules. And they say to you, it isn't fair, is it? But it's sort of like jail, isn't it?
Yeah,
But
still.
it's still sort of like what it's come to. I don't know about that. I'm thinking about when you walk in the door. I'm thinking about the part when you walk in the door and you feel, oh no. And you think, oh no. Because I think that's where it starts.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think that's the part that ends up in all three of you feeling, maybe we can't make it through another night. So I don't know about the coming home. We both know you should.
Uh-huh.
You gotta learn it. You're gonna have to learn it. Maybe you learn it in day treatment. Maybe you'll learn it when you get older. You know it, they know it, I know it. That's not, we all know it. But the part I'm concerned about right now is when you do come in. You could come in and you could do it like a chilled guy.
Sorry.
That's all right. You know, cell phone.
Yeah, Wait.
So everybody can find you. Yeah. That would be that.
No, it's a-
I wonder if that wouldn't be a place to start the part. It's a small part step, but I wonder if a good step wouldn't be, because I'm worried about you making it. I'm worried about you making it to the day treatment.
Mm-hmm.
I think it'll help. It helps you with school, and it'll help you get there. It will give you structure. I mean, it'll do all those things. And it isn't a hospital. The hospital isn't a jail, so it's good in those ways. No one wants to lose each other. You guys are in the same place about that. But if you can't fix or soften what happens when you come in the door between the two of you, I don't think you'll make it to day treatment. If that can't get softened, if you can't find your concern and care more, if you can't find the chilled guy part more, and the part about not wanting to be losing them, if you can't find that when you're together at that moment, I don't think you'll make it. So I think that's a place to begin. And I think that time, do you know what I'm talking about? Is that time seems to be what pushes you all to have to stay up all night and say, should we try again?
Mm.
So does that make some sense to you?
Yeah.
That would be a place to begin? Because the rest of it, following all the rules, you're going to be, my guess is you're going to live on the edge of rules your whole life. You know, and there's good things about that, and there's bad things about that. You have to deal with that.
Mm-hmm.
But this is the part, if you don't fix this, you'll lose, everybody will lose. So let's talk about that for a minute, if that would be okay. Is that all right?
Yes.
Let me ask you the question I asked you before. How is it that such a tough guy becomes a little child again when he comes home? How does that happen to you?
I don't know.
I mean, it's an interesting thing, isn't it? You can manage yourself on these streets that scare me. I wander around in your city and I don't know.
I am not with my friends anymore, and then with my parents, you know. It's different.
How's it different?
You know,
Safer. So you don't have to be the tough guy anymore.
no.
No?
I think it's less safe.
It's, when I'm with the guys, you know, I want to be a big boy. So I act tough, you know. But when I'm home, you know, I just think about myself. So it's my parents, you know. I can do whatever I want now. You know? I don't know.
Does it happen that when you're home, you get afraid of losing them? Is that when you're afraid of losing them, or is it when you're on the street? Is it when you're home and
When I'm
nobody's-
home and they're screaming at me.
Then you're really scared. Then you begin to think,
Mm-hmm.
pisses me off, leave me alone. But you also think, maybe I'm going to lose another mom.
Uh-huh.
And you can be very tough, but the other side of you, that other voice says, you're going to lose another month. It is about trust. But it's a different kind of trust, it sounds like to me. It sounds like in part the trust is, I don't think she's going to let you go ever. I don't know if that's true, but I think even if you go to prison, she's not going to let you go. Even if you run away and stay away, I don't think she'll let you go psychologically. I don't know how to make that. I don't know how she can help you remember that. And it's hard, I think, when she's screaming to see the screaming as her way of saying, don't go.
Mm-hmm.
Don't kill yourself. Now, she could do it differently.
But you don't know how.
I don't think she knows how. Just like I think you could tell her that you don't want to lose her differently.
Well, it's hard. You know, she's screaming at me and then I'm going to tell her, oh, I love you, I don't, you know.
Oh, I think that would be a very hard time to tell her that you love her. I think if you were ever to do that when she was screaming, I think she would laugh so hard, or she wouldn't know what to do. I think if you ever want to stop her screaming, walk up to her, give her a big hug, and tell her how much you love her. And she won't know what to do. She'll have no clue what to do. What could she do? Now, I'm not saying that that's a solution. I'm not trying to suggest that to you. But I mean, you mentioned it, so I'm just kidding around. But do you see what I mean? Is that would be so bizarre?
Mm-hmm.
That'd be so against the rules. When she's screaming, you're supposed to scream back. That's so unlike being a little child. That's like being a big guy. It works two ways.
It does.
I mean, so far I've asked him to do a lot of things, and one thing, your mom.
Yeah.
And you heard what he said. It sort of feels, I think, to him a little bit as if when you're so afraid and angry that you are pushing him out.
I am.
You know, and it's a little bit like you're acting like one of his, I don't know what the right word would be, but somebody on the street, you know, that kind of where the street guys will push each other back and forth, back and forth.
It looks like that.
That part feels like that too, doesn't it? Yeah. So finding a way to, you can't not tell him he needs to be home. I'm not suggesting not the rules. You have to have rules. You need them. You know, I mean, we all know that. But it's finding a different way to say it. Finding a way to say it that, and you're going to be angry. So I don't know what there is to say in the short time to let him know that he's not a little kid. What time do we have to be done?
No, it's not the I just want to know. Like,
Oh. 15 minutes.
Okay.
You have an appointment?
No.
Just kidding.
Yeah.
Just, we just have, we're probably talking for 5 more minutes.
Oh, it's if when it's 10 minutes, it doesn't matter.
Okay. I mean, so, you know that you almost act like one of his street
Yes,
friends.
yeah. I have to find another approach.
How have you tried to help her with that? Because you sit back, it sounds, and you kind of watch a bit.
No. Sometimes I take one side, doesn't mean I take both sides. Mostly it's her side.
Yeah.
Just to pick it up without thinking if it's right or not.
Can I make a suggestion?
Yes.
I wonder if the best way that you could help her would not be to take her side, but instead to remind her that what she really wants to say to him is that she's afraid. She doesn't really want to say to him that she hates him, that he needs to leave her. but that what she's trying to say to him is she's scared and she doesn't know what else to do. That might be the best way to support her right now. Because what she has said, I think what you said is, I don't know what else to do. And a different thing to do would be to say, I'm really afraid, rather than, God damn it, go by the rules. Excuse me if I'm like, what you know, some version of that, right? And that when you take her side, it in some ways makes it worse. Because if you take her side, then whose side are you not on? His? And so maybe a different way to help would be to help remind her of what she's really trying to say. Because my guess is that if she said, I'm afraid, and I don't know what to do, and I'm so angry that I don't know what to do, and if he said, I love you, or if he said, look, I screwed up, or and he could say 1,000 different things, just not the kind of treating her like one of his pals on the street. That if either of them did something a bit different, that moment would pass. And if that moment would pass, then things would not feel so, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know.
And then you wouldn't feel violence, and you wouldn't feel that, you wouldn't. I mean, you're gonna make mistakes. I don't think you should, I think you're too smart for it, but you probably will. So at least you could all agree that he made a mistake, and that something needs to be done, but it's not the pushing away that turns to anger and to violence. She probably needs your help a bit to remember that, because she feels it. You know how you get so angry you're in the middle of it and feel it? Is that the kind of thing that you two do with each other?
Yeah.
Could he be helpful in that way to you?
Yeah, it could be helpful.
So he could say things like that to you.
Yeah, okay. He sometimes does.
And it helps,
It helps.
because it helps you remember the other part.
Yeah.
Well, here's what worries me. I worry about the next few weeks before day treatment. And what will happen in day treatment is that someone will work with you a bit like this. And that's why I'm here, is I'm here to help them learn to work in this way. And there are many more things I'm trying to teach them to do as well. But I'm really worried about getting there. Because it can't start today, I understand it needs to start soon. And I know that Eric will continue. And we'll continue trying to help get you to the point. I'm really, really worried about this moment when you two come together. Because I think it has come to mean something between you that it really doesn't. But it's come to feel as if you're going to lose. And I think you fight back and hold on. I don't think you'll get thrown away. And I think she feels awfully bad about being angry, and I think you also. And if we can't manage that moment, I think it'll be hard to make it to day treatment. I think if you can manage that moment, it sounds to me as if the three of you have what you need, which is you have this feeling that you're not going to give up. It's just the little things now, which are big things. It's these moments that add to that. But the rules in the school have to come with their treatment. But this may be the part that you can manage. So, a good thing to do might be that moment, if we can help kind of keep focused there.
Yeah.
Keep focused on ways in which remembering to say what they really want to say at that moment, rather than how much it hurts and how bad it feels. I hope you can learn to be a chilled guy everywhere.
Yeah.
And you know what? One of the hardest things I think about growing up is learning to grow up around your parents. It's very hard to be an adult with your parents. I don't do very well. That's the real challenge. Finding a different way with them is not an easy thing.
I have to try.
Oh, I think you'll try. I don't imagine you won't try.